Going on with this. I don't like what's going on with this. At some point, as a Caitlin Clark fan, if that's what you are, or whatever your stance is, it's time for you to stand up. The Indiana Fever are playing games. The Indiana Fever are treating the fans like they are idiots. And all of a sudden, the Indiana Fever are trying to use Caitlin Clark's fans to the benefit of everyone else once again, while we have watched them refuse to do right by her. I feel like the Fever organization and some of these players.
Stephanie White couldn't believe her eyes. The Indiana Fever just committed the ultimate sin in professional sports, and the fallout is going to be permanent. They thought they could bury Caitlin Clark in the shadows, but the moment they needed to cash in on her fame, they dragged her back to the center stage. This isn't just a coaching mistake or a marketing slip-up. This is a calculated, cold-blooded betrayal of the league's biggest star. Stephanie's fury is echoing through the entire WNBA, because she sees what everyone else is starting to realize: the Fever organization is playing a dangerous game with a generational talent, and the fans are officially done being treated like idiots.
Again, while we have watched them refuse to do right by her. I feel like the Fever organization and some of these players have lost benefit of the doubt as far as I'm concerned. The Indiana Fever just tried a real slick slide, sneaky move. Once again, we got to get into that. Sophie Cunningham still had to go on her podcast and do damage control. Maybe that was a part of the suspension. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated as always. We got to get into things, man.
This started with a subtle eraser that almost went unnoticed by the casual viewer. For weeks, Caitlin Clark was mysteriously absent from the Indiana Fever's promotional materials. Their social media was filled with every face except the one that actually sells the tickets. It was a bizarre, intentional move that felt like a slap in the face to the rookie who changed the economy of the sport overnight. But then the All-Star voting window opened, and suddenly everything changed. The organization had a massive realization that they couldn't get their other players to the big stage without leaning on Caitlin's massive fan base. It was a slick, sneaky pivot that felt more like a scam than a strategy.
Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell. Vote at fevervote.com. All of a sudden, you guys don't find it ironic? Caitlin Clark has been missing from all of the Indiana Fever promo photos. All of a sudden, y'all figured out how to put Caitlin Clark back in it. All of a sudden, not only did y'all remember how to put Caitlin Clark back in it, y'all remember how to put Caitlin Clark front and center in the middle of the flyers and photos now, huh? Isn't that ironic? Isn't it obvious? They are trying to use Caitlin Clark to continue to boost the popularity.
Look at the latest flyers hitting the internet right now. Suddenly, Caitlin Clark is front and center. She is the anchor of the graphic, surrounded by Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. The caption is begging fans to go to the voting site and cast their ballots for the trio. It is the definition of irony. One day she's not worth a post, and the next she is being used as a human shield to boost the popularity of teammates who haven't even been doing right by her on the court. Stephanie White knows exactly what this looks like. It is a desperate attempt to harvest the Caitlin Clark effect for people who haven't earned that level of recognition on their own merit this season.
Their own merit. There's no more going around collecting free all-star votes and this and that off of the merit of being Caitlin Clark's teammate, when half the time we don't even see y'all doing right by Caitlin. No, 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 no. If people gonna make all-star teams, they need to make it on their own merit. How about that? Give Kelsey her own all-star flyer with a link to it. Let people go click that link. Stop trying to lump everybody in with Caitlin now. All of a sudden. Why don't we stop doing that? What else did they do? They doubled down. Time to lock in. Your all-star vote is worth double today.
The disrespect is loud, and it is coming from inside the house. If Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell are going to be all-stars, they should be getting there because of their own stats and impact. Instead, the the Fever are trying to lump everyone together in a package deal. They want the fans to do the heavy lifting for the entire roster just because they happen to share a locker room with number 22. It feels cheap. It feels unearned. And most importantly, it feels like the organization thinks the fans are too stupid to see the strings being pulled. You can't ignore a star player until you need her followers to click a link. That is not a team culture. That is a parasitic relationship.
Sudden, Caitlin Clark is back in the middle of the damn photos. Oh, it's easy to put her in the middle of the promo when you need her, huh? When you're trying to get votes for all your other players, let's put Caitlin Clark's face in the middle of it. What are you talking? No. We're not doing that. And like I said, AB had a monster game. Kelsey Mitchell has had some good games. But people got to get votes off their own merit going forward. There's no more just cashing in votes because I am Caitlin Clark's teammate. No. We was doing that when we was giving y'all the benefit of the doubt that y'all was doing right by her. We clearly see.
Then we have the Sophie Cunningham situation, which only adds fuel to this raging fire. She recently went on her podcast to do what many are calling blatant damage control. She tried to explain away the late-game drama and the perceived freezing out of Caitlin Clark during clutch moments. Sophie talked about a specific play where she claimed the ball was always intended for Caitlin. She painted a picture of a perfectly executed plan that just looked messy from the outside. But anyone who actually watches the tape knows better. The body language, the spacing, and the timing didn't match the story she was telling. It felt like a scripted defense designed to quiet the growing roar of the fans.
Like the Caitlin Clark fans are dumb and like they just got to go vote for who they want them to vote for. Nah, partner. Give everybody else their own promo links and all of that good stuff, okay? Stop trying to have everybody cash in votes, free votes off Caitlin Clark back. Since y'all don't want her to be front and center any other time. That's how I feel about it. Sophie Cunningham took to her podcast to address the situation going on with a lot of the drama surrounding the Indiana Fever. She also mentioned how the rookies have been kind of in a whirlwind with every.
Sophie claimed that during that high-pressure sequence against the Mystics, the play was drawn up specifically for CC to take the lead. She described a cross screen and a down screen that were supposed to land Caitlin at the top of the key, but the explanation felt hollow. If that was the play, why did it look like the ball was being forced elsewhere until there was no other choice? The narrative being pushed is that the rookies are just in a whirlwind and aren't used to the Caitlin Clark effect yet, but we are deep into the season now. That excuse is starting to expire. Using a podcast to rewrite history is a bold move, but it is one that is being met with massive skepticism from experts.
And of course, like, if someone's open originally, like, you give them the ball, like, if Kelsey's open to get a layup, yes. If AB was open, but, like, the play was to go to CC. Like, it was perfectly executed.
Womp. Bush. I'm calling BS, Sophie. We know that play wasn't for Caitlin. But it's okay. It's okay. You went rogue. We love you. It's okay.
I would counter with, like, it does seem like you wouldn't drop a play for you to throw the ball that far across the court.
Well, it wasn't. What she was supposed to do was, it was a cross screen and then down screen. So she was supposed to be, like, at the top.
The reality is that the Fever are trying to have it both ways. They want the revenue, the sold-out arenas, and the record-breaking jersey sales that come with Caitlin, but they don't want to give her the keys to the kingdom. They are trying to suppress her influence while simultaneously profiting from it. It is a toxic cycle that is burning bridges with the fan base. People aren't just showing up to see a basketball game. They are showing up to see a revolution. When the organization treats that revolution like a marketing gimmick to be turned on and off at their convenience, it creates a level of resentment that is hard to fix. The slick slide move with the All-Star voting was the final straw.
In fucking Manhattan or Brooklyn, and be like, go ball, and she would, like, talk shit the whole time. Like, it's just, she's real. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. And I think that, like, that's kind of where we're all at. We're trying to find, like, the fun in it because that's when we're at our best. And I think for certain people, like, talking a little bit of smack and, getting people riled up and getting the fans involved, like that's part of what makes her her, or like makes other people them. And some other people, they'll hit the biggest shot and then they'll just be like how OG was last night. Like, you know what I mean? And so it makes it fun. But I think, we have a game tonight against Chicago.
So she basically had to downplay and...
Stephanie White has seen enough to know that this isn't how you build a championship culture. You don't alienate your cornerstone and then ask her fans for favors. It sends a message to the rest of the locker room that they don't have to be better. They just have to be near Caitlin. That is a dangerous precedent to set for a young team. It creates a dynamic where merit is secondary to proximity. If Mitchell and Boston want to be elite, they need to stand on their own 2 feet and command the respect of the league through their play, not through a bundled social media post. The fans are calling for individual links for each player, and they are absolutely right to demand that level of honesty. The internal tension is becoming impossible to ignore. When players go on podcasts to spill the tea or explain away coaching decisions, it is a sign that the communication within the building has broken down. Sophie's attempt to justify that long cross-court pass as a drawn-up play was almost painful to listen to. She claimed she threw it because she thought Caitlin would keep running toward her. But the disconnect was obvious to everyone watching. It wasn't a tactical master stroke. It was a desperate heave that nearly resulted in a turnover. Trying to dress it up as a genius strategy after the fact is insulting to the intelligence of the audience and the analysts who know the game. There is a growing sense that the Indiana Fever are scammers in the way they handle their PR. They are trying to gaslight the fans into believing that everything is fine while the evidence on the court says otherwise. They see the outrage on social media. They see the comments on every post. And their response is to just put Caitlin's face back on a flyer and hope everyone forgets the previous 3 weeks of exclusion. It is a short-term fix for a long-term problem. You can't build a legacy on fake promo photos. You build it on trust, consistency, and honoring the talent you were lucky enough to draft. Right now, the Fever are failing on every single one of those fundamental fronts. Stephanie White knows that the WNBA is at a turning point. The eyes of the world are on this league like never before, and the Indiana Fever are the epicenter of that attention. Every move they make is under a microscopic lens. When they try these slick maneuvers, they aren't just embarrassing themselves. They are hurting the credibility of the entire organization. The fans are protective of Caitlin because they have seen how she has been treated by opponents, officials, and now her own front office. It is an us against the world mentality that the Fever are foolishly positioned on the wrong side of. They are slowly becoming the villains in their own story, and they don't even see it. The disrespect isn't just about a few missing photos. It is about a total lack of vision. The transcript reveals a deep-seated frustration with how the team is managed during high-stakes games when they have a 15-point lead and let it slip away. It is not just a growing period. It is a failure to execute and a failure to lead from the top down. Sophie Cunningham mentioned that they need to step on their necks and not let teams back in, but talk is cheap in this league. The Fever have a habit of letting the pedal off the metal and then scrambling in the final minutes. In those moments, the ball should be in the hands of the star. Instead, we see confusion and constant miscommunications. The narrative that the rookies are in a whirlwind is a convenient shield for poor coaching and poor chemistry. Caitlin Clark has been playing under this kind of pressure since she was a teenager in Iowa. She is used to the noise. The problem isn't the Caitlin Clark effect on the rookies. It is the organization's inability to integrate that effect into a winning system. They are acting like they are surprised by the attention when they should have been prepared for it from the moment they won the lottery. Stephanie White's fury stems from the fact that this talent is being wasted by people who seem more interested in damage control than actually winning professional basketball games. What is even more frustrating is the way the Fever are trying to manipulate the voting process. They know that Caitlin's fans are loyal and incredibly active online by pairing her with other players in every post. They are essentially trying to tax the fans. If you want to support Caitlin, they imply you have to support everyone else, too. It is a forced association that doesn't feel organic at all. If the other players were performing at an all-star level consistently, the fans would vote for them naturally. But by trying to manufacture that support through Caitlyn, the Fever are admitting that their other stars can't carry the weight on their own. It is a desperate look. Sophie Cunningham's podcast appearance was clearly a PR move sanctioned by the team to settle the waters before things got out of hand. She tried to make it sound like the team is having fun and finding their rhythm. But fun doesn't win championships, and rhythm doesn't come from denying the truth of what is happening on the hardwood. When she talks about Caitlyn being real and talking trash, she is trying to humanize a situation that has become purely transactional. The fans don't care if they are having fun in the locker room if they are being disrespected on the scoreboard and in the marketing department. The disconnect between the players and the fans is wider than ever. The miscommunication excuse is the oldest trick in the book. During that crucial play, Sophie claimed 2 defenders went with Lexi, leaving Caitlyn wide open. She said the play worked perfectly because no one was around her. But if the play worked so perfectly, why did it look so chaotic? Why did it feel like a lucky break rather than a calculated tactical strike? Stephanie White understands the nuances of the game well enough to see through the fluff. You don't draw up a play that relies on a cross-court heave and a defensive breakdown. You draw up a play that puts your best shooter in a position to succeed with high percentage options. They are lucky it didn't end in disaster. The Fever are essentially trying to gaslight their entire audience. They want us to believe that the exclusion of Caitlyn from promos was an accident, that the all-star voting flyers are just team spirit and that the late-game blunders are just learning moments. But when you pile all these things together, a dark pattern emerges. It is a pattern of minimizing the star and maximizing the system. The problem is the system isn't working. When you have a generational talent, you don't fit her into your system. You build the entire system around her. The Fever are doing the exact opposite and it is blowing up in their faces in real time for the whole world to watch. Stephanie White's stance is one of pure basketball integrity. She knows that you can't cheat the game, you can't cheat the fans, and you certainly can't cheat the process of building a superstar. Caitlyn Clark has earned every bit of the attention she receives. To see her own team try to dilute that attention or use it as a tool to prop up others is offensive to anyone who respects the sport. The Fever organization needs to realize that they are stewards of a rare asset. If they continue to play games and treat the fans like idiots, the Caitlyn Clark effect will eventually move on to somewhere that actually appreciates it. They are running out of time to fix this mess. The irony of the situation is that the Fever need Caitlyn more than she needs them. She brought the eyes, she brought the money, and she brought the relevance to a franchise that was struggling. The organization was a basement dweller before she arrived. For them to now act like they are doing her a favor by putting her in the middle of a photo is the height of arrogance. The fans are right to be on to them. They see the slick moves. They see the damage control, and they are refusing to buy the corporate narrative. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It is about respect. And right now, the Indiana Fever have shown zero respect for their best player. As we look toward the All-Star break, the tension is only going to increase. The voting results will be a direct reflection of how the fans feel about this organization. If Caitlyn gets record-breaking votes while her teammates lag behind, it will be a clear message to the front office. You can't force the fans to love a product that feels manufactured or fake. You can't slick slide your way into all-star appearances. The meritocracy of the game will always win out in the end. Stephanie White is watching closely and so is the rest of the basketball world. The Indiana Fever are on thin ice and it is starting to crack under the weight of their own incredibly bad decisions. The podcast era of the WNBA has made things even more complicated for these teams. Players have a platform to speak their minds, but they also have a platform to spread propaganda. Sophie Cunningham's attempt to paint the Chicago Sky game and the Mystics game as growth periods is a tough pill to swallow for fans who want results now. They don't want to hear about almost and could have. They want to see a team that recognizes the greatness in their midst and acts accordingly. The denial phase of this controversy needs to end immediately. It is time for the organization to stop lying to themselves and start doing right by the star they were gifted. The scam is being exposed more and more every single day. From the ticket prices to the merchandise to the social media strategy, everything about the Indiana Fever right now feels like a cash grab built on the back of Caitlin Clark. While she takes the hits on the court and the heat in the media, the organization is busy counting the money and trying to figure out how to make everyone else look just as important. It is a strategy that is destined to fail because you can't manufacture heart. You can't manufacture a legend. You either support one with everything you have or you get out of the way. The Fever are currently doing neither, and it shows. The final word belongs to the fans who refuse to stay silent. As Stephanie White has made clear through her powerful observations, the era of giving this team the benefit of the doubt is officially over. The Indiana Fever have shown their hand, and it is a handful of disrespect and manipulation. Whether they can turn this ship around remains to be seen, but the damage to their reputation is already done. Caitlin Clark will continue to shine because that is what she does. But the organization she plays for has a long way to go before they earn back the trust of the people. The truth is finally out there and it is not going anywhere anymore.